every quarter. It points even in terms of remuneration and benefits, but implementation is always a challenge. And as we look at this, Your Excellency, when you look at what it does at the county level, it means that very little money goes into service delivery and development. The Controller of Budgets reports indicates that for a number of counties, up to 65% of their revenue is spent on the wage bill. And hence, it's not surprising that we still, as a country, especially if you look at the ASAL areas, we're still at the point of food relief. We should not be there as a country. And we must, therefore, as I conclude, pay a lot of attention on how resources are utilized at the county level so that we can release more money for service delivery and for development at that level. So thank you, Your Excellency. As I make my last remark is, as a commission and all independent offices, we are ready to work with your administration in a collaborative manner so that we can discharge our mandate, which is really about delivering services to the citizens of this country. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So that I'm not accused of not looking at the other side of gender, allow me, Your Excellency, to call Mr. Macharia Jero, who is the Vice Chair of the Judicial Service Commission, which is the other arm of government. Kindly, and don't complain about our bush. I know you. I know you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, the President, and Your Excellency, the Deputy President. Allow me to adopt the protocols that have already been adopted here. And to most sincerely thank you, Your Excellency, for this continuous engagements that you've been encouraging among all the players within the government. It is all fresh and new. I was a chair of IPOA for 6 years, and not once did we visit Statehouse on this kind of engagement. So it is very good, and I feel that we are very fortunate as commissions and independent institutions to have Your Excellency inviting us regularly. I'll say 3 things very quickly. First and foremost, on behalf of the Chief Justice and the Judicial Service Commission and the Institution of Judiciary, to thank you most sincerely for the special focus that you've given on the institution of the judiciary. There has been complaints before that this is an institution that had been neglected, particularly in terms of the issues of resources. And the commitment you gave when you were sworn in, you've lived to it. And there's nothing as good as when, and you are living testimony to that, that whatever you've said, you've lived through it with concrete actions, and for that we thank you. Secondly, to also assure you that Judiciary and the Judicial Service Commission is giving special focus to the issue of clearing the backlog and ensuring that the sufficient administration of justice, because that speaks to the issue of ease of doing business and resolving disputes, in a very expeditious manner, because it speaks to the very fabric of our society. And finally, to also assure you, Your Excellency, that, we are giving special focus We are giving special focus to the issue of the vision, a sense of purpose and value system within the institution. Because sometimes we don't differentiate between being time tellers and clock builders. Because it's so easy for us to speak to the issue of the individuals and forgetting about the importance of building the institutions. Because as you've seen here today, there are those commissioners and even chairpersons who are exiting, others are coming in, but the institutions remain. So for us at the institution of the Judiciary and the Judicial Service Commission, what we are particularly doing is reconfiguring the institution and ensuring that we have a very efficient and robust accountability mechanism. Like JSC is ensuring that we have a complete directorate of complaints and investigations, so that we can be able to also ensure that the institution of the judiciary itself and JSC is held to account, and when people have complaints, that these complaints are expeditiously dealt with, so that there can be a sense of confidence and from the public, that the institution of judiciary itself is not only asking for resources, but we also accounting ourselves to the members of the public. So we want to thank you, Your Excellency, and to request you that whenever you are thinking about us in terms of the resource allocation, be assured that these resources will be utilized correctly. We'll ensure that the institution itself is accountable to the members of the public, and that in terms of Kenya Kwanza manifesto, we'll continue supporting it, particularly on the issue of the small claims court, to ensure that the bottom-up approach is so felt. At the very bottom when it comes to admission of justice. Thank you so much, and I thank you for ambushing me, because I was able to say a few words on behalf of the institution of the Judiciary and JSC. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the chairs have asked me to ask you that since you've set a tradition of receiving exit reports, so next bunch of chairs that will be exiting, you'll be kind enough, Your Excellency, and since Your Excellency have been blowing, other people's trumpet, allow me to blow the trumpet of the CAJ, the Office of the Ombudsman, in a minute. Your Excellency, we were happy as a commission when you established the Minister of ICT and specifically brought up a department on digital economy. As the commission, we implement the Access to Information Act that requires government to have digitized the public service within 3 years from the time the Access to Information Act was passed. That was 2016. 3 years down the line, nothing has happened in terms of digitization of the public service. But when you've come up, Your Excellency, you made a decision that we have a digital economy as an office that will take care of access to information and the computerization of government. We are asking Your Excellency, because we are part and parcel of the process, and we've had a meeting with the Minister of ICT, that we work together, so that we support government with our expertise to ensure that citizens are able to the information that as a matter of right, they have been given by the Constitution. Again, Your Excellency, we as a commission have a way of recognizing public servants. I didn't know service delivery is key. Is central to your delivery of the Kenya Kwanza plan. Your Excellency, we shall be hosting in the course of the year, an Huduma Ombudsman Award. As we speak now, we are going around several entities, trying to identify public servants who are efficient, effective, and excellent in delivery of their services. We shall be requesting you, and allow me to request you now, when you've identified those particular, public servants who are experts, who are the best, that your experts, who are the best, that your Excellency, you will be present. Your Excellency, you will be present. Your honors to be there, to be able to recognize these servants, who are supporting the government to deliver. Lastly, Your Excellency, among the chairs present, we have international obligations. We have chairs who are presidents of, like the chair of the African president representing African region in the International Ombudsman Institute, and also the Secretary General Institute, and also the Secretary General of the African Ombudsman and Mediators Association. Your Excellency, even as we talk about budgets, there are international obligations that most of the chairs, and I remember that the exiting chair, Mr. Chebukati was the president within the IBC in the other African regions. So, Your Excellency, we have chairs who have respective roles within the international space. So even that, Your Excellency, is something that we'll be speaking to when we meet the Deputy President to discuss how we're going to work as we move forward. With that, Your Excellency, thank you, and thank you, Deputy President, for this opportunity you've given us to be able to speak to what we do and what we're going to do with you as we move forward. Thank you for the honor. I think the Deputy President had allowed me to call some other people, if I'm not wrong. I hope I'm not breaching the protocols, Your Excellency. Please allow me, because even the Senate has summoned us to go and say what we do. And next week, the last week of the month, we shall be with Senate, saying what we do, Your Excellency, so that we can get the funds, the budget. And I've served with my brother, Senator Cheruyot. I would kindly request you as the majority leader to say a word. This is a privilege that I've never experienced in my life. So if the more I stay here, the more I feel. Good, Your Excellency. Allow me.
Okay, good, Your Excellency. Okay, good, Your Excellency, the President, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Prime Cabinet Secretary, Speakers of both Houses of Parliament, Speaker Weta and Speaker Kingi, and all distinguished guests that are here this afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Well, we are here to celebrate. Great service to country, and when God affords you, an opportunity to serve your country, it's something that one shouldn't take lightly. Therefore, I believe this gathering is extremely important because you're celebrating men and women. You're celebrating men and women that have served Kenya, in very high levels of government, and done us proud. Therefore, on behalf of the Senate of the Republic of Kenya, we celebrate the 3 chairs that are retiring today. Archbishop Eliud Emeritus, we celebrate you for the great work of the 3 chairs that are retiring, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I've never had the chance to I've never had the chance to interact with you at your place. Of work, which is a place of work, which is a good thing, I think. A good thing, I think. And to the other two, Dr. Jen, having been a member of Budget and Finance the last 2 terms of Parliament, we've worked very closely, crafting formulas and agreeing on the vertical distribution of resources amongst the 2 levels of government. And I know you have served us well with great distinction. We celebrate you as well. And of course, last but not least, we celebrate our good friend Wafula Chebukati, who served us well, and not just well, you served under very difficult circumstances. Earlier today, Your Excellency, I said to the AG, because I am not in unfamiliar, territory. I have served in Constitutional Commission as well. The last 5 Constitutional Commission as well. The last 5 years I was a commissioner at PSC, and my chairperson was the AG, and we looked back today and said, just reflecting on the story of the 3 IBC commissioners that are retiring, that we owe them an apology between the AG and myself, because it's easy to pass on blame, as we are here as Constitutional Commission and say, oh, we celebrate IBC for the work that they did, but this or the other commission didn't do their work so well. I think us as PSC also, there's a part where we missed a step, and I said to the AG today that we'll pull Wafula Chebukati aside and say we are sorry for our contribution into part of the problems we had. Why do I say that? The IBC Act provides that PSC, that's a Parliamentary Service Commission, needs to nominate 4 members to the selection panel. And then the selection panel, of course, will pick the subsequent commissioners, just like the exercise that is about to happen. Last year, or about 2 years ago, when we had that opportunity, of course, we sat down, and you remember, for those of you that are aware about how Kenya was at that particular time, there was no difference. There was no majority and minority in Parliament. Both sides were the same. Then there was another small amorphous group, not small actually, large group, not small actually, large but unrecognized. That was largely operating around the then Deputy President, now our President. So we sat down and said, how do we ensure that in nominating the selection panel to the IEBC, we have the face of Kenya and reflect both sides of the divide. And we came up with the right decision. We said, if you take it to Parliament before majority and minority, leaders, then they are likely to return names from only one team. The team that you then led wasn't going to be represented. Therefore, we took a wise decision and said, we are going to do it at PSC, and we closed the meeting, we prayed, and we left. Unfortunately, as was the culture back then, phone calls flew in, and you were called back to the meeting. We resigned back to the meeting. We resigned that decision, and we gave the opportunity to majority and minority side. As you know and understand, those were one side of the political divide. So we ended up with four members of selection panel from one side of the divide and none from the other. A long story short, those four actually gave birth to the infamous OPEC 4, if I may put it. Therefore, I say to the AG today, we had our own share of blame, and that probably for the trouble that he went through because of that, I take this opportunity to say we will do better. We will become like you. Even when you are tested in difficult times, I think the lesson that you have taught us is that we need to stand firm and not give the very famous excuse, that we used to give the last few months and say, oh, I wanted to do the right thing, but a phone call, a very powerful call came from somewhere. And I think if you had done that, Chairman Chebukati, probably wouldn't be here as a country. Therefore, thank you for teaching us how to serve our country with distinction and honor. That's a great lesson that you taught us. That I guess the same can be emulated by all of us in our places of work. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Mr. President, it appears as if my year is starting well, with your blessings and the blessings of the Deputy President. I'm being advised to invite you. Mr. President, we thank you for the opportunity to meet the CCIOs, and would like to hear your side of the story as you've shown commissions ready, able, and willing. Okay, I will let the Deputy President run the program from there. That was the limit of my instructions.
Thank you, Commissioner. You are listening to too many people. I told you exactly what to do. I think we still had few people to say something. Because I don't think this occasion will be complete bila ile kizungu ya weta. Sendio. Now also we wanted to hear from the AG and probably one more chair, and then we can call the president, because we wanted to balance a little bit. So Attorney General, please come and say something.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Excellency, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Musalia, the Right Honorable Speakers of the two Houses of Parliament, the Honorable Moses Masika Wetangula, and the Honorable Amason Jeffa Kingi, chairs of independent offices and chairs of commissions, and as well as the commissioners here present and CEOs. I stand here as a commissioner in the JSC, courtesy of the appointment by His Excellency the President to the office of the Attorney General. But I could very well speak about some of my experiences within the Commission. But my young brother, the majority leader in the Senate, the Honorable Aaron Cheriot, has let the bag out. Yesterday, as the chair of the IEBC, and Commissioners Gulier and Molu released to us the post-election evaluation report. I looked at the Honorable Mr. Chepkati, and I wondered what metal he's made of. Because the Honorable Chepkati is indeed a Kenyan to emulate. He is the chair of the moment. Indeed, Mr. Chepkati, you made all of us very, very proud by standing firm. As a country, we are proud to have had you at the helm of the IEBC. And the position of the IEBC in our constitution is, as many of you perhaps may know, quite elevated. Sometimes you'd wonder when you look at the reports that come from Chair Lynn Mangich, when you see where the IEBC is placed. And I think it's for good measure. I think as Kenyans, we made the right decision. Because without elevating that commission to where we did, and luckily, notwithstanding the mistakes that the Honorable Aaron Cheriot has mentioned, by grace of God, we had a firm person as a chairperson, and his two colleagues, Professor Gulier and Molu. We will not be where we are. Today, we walk around the world with our hands high up, very proud today because of where the conduct of the commission, and particularly Mr. Chepkati, put us. Just like you normally happens when we see people doing the marathon, Boston, Berlin, wherever, and And, sometimes, like, as we are used to. If you are traveling in some other places, you'd say, yeah, I know that one very well. It's actually from my village. We know most likely it could be from Kericho, or from Elgeyo Marakwet, But we proudly say that one. I know this one very well. Ni mtoto ya mjomba wangu. So, Mr. Chebukati, never mind that you have now very many relatives, including me, because of what you did. Singular act of sheer commitment and firmness to the rule of law and constitutionalism. Thank you. May God bless you abundantly. May I take this opportunity to congratulate all the other chairs and independent office holders. Please, let us emulate the work of our brother. Mr. Chebukati, you are not retiring. I hope this country, this administration, led by His Excellency William Samoei Ruto, should find some other place for you to continue leading this country with that kind of resolve. With that, Your Excellency, allow me to invite my brother, the Speaker of the Senate, the Right Honorable Jeffer Amason Kingi, to come and make his remarks. Karibu sana, his remarks. Karibu sana, his remarks. Karibu sana.
I hope you can see me, because I belong to the tribe that is challenged vertically. Your Excellency, the President, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Prime Cabinet Secretary, my brother Speaker Moses, Majority Leader, AG, chairs, CEOs. Good afternoon. Allow me to associate myself with the statements that have been made here. In terms of appreciating the work that the commissions are doing, and more particularly congratulating the three chairs who are exiting and transiting today. Indeed, sitting there and listening to the testimonies that have been made here, you've certainly done a good job in helping government run. To some mud guy out there, he may argue that why should independent commissions spend a day with the president in Statehouse? To me, that is looking at the word independence in such a narrow way. In as much as these commissions are independent, in as much as we have independent offices, but we don't work independently in as far as the family called government is concerned. We are like a production line with many gears, but all these gears, they can only be said to be functioning well if the final product, which is one, is good. And therefore, to those who still subscribe to the fact that because you're an independent commission, you need to see eye to eye with the president or to the CSs or the PSs, I want to advise you as a lawyer that what you are doing today is indeed the right way. We need to bring synergy in government. We need to bring linkages in government. We need linkages in government. We need to bring collaborations between government. We need to bring collaborations between government agencies for the president to deliver on his mandate. I think to my brother who said he served in IPOA, for all those years, and he never had a minute with the president or with the government then. That is not supposed to be the case, because what you do will either enable the president to deliver on his mandate, or it will disable the president from delivering on his mandate. And I think our president is very clear on where he wants to take this country, through what we call the plan, And he knows that he needs partners, in making sure that the plan succeeds. And there can never be better partners than these commissions. Because if you look at the mandate of the commissions, and if you deliver on your mandates, then the president will have an easy time delivering the plan. Because your mandate basically are enabling instruments for government to be able to deliver on their manifestos and on their plan. So feel confident that His Excellency has invited you here. It is on the realization that he needs partners to make sure that he anchors his plan well, and ultimately services are brought closer to our people. Just like the other speakers, allow me to congratulate and appreciate the three exiting chairmen, starting with the Bishop of Fula Chebukati, a man I've known for Wabukala. Yeah, they come from the same village, is it? Wafula, Wabukala. The name Chebukati will ring forever. Will ring forever in our minds. To appreciate the good work you have done. He's a man I've known. Even after he assumed office at EACC, he has been faithful to the church. He has come to Kilifi several times. We have worked together raising funds to build the church. And I believe as you exit, you'll find a better place, another chapter, another page God certainly has prepared for you. We appreciate you for the great work that you've done. To Dr. Jane, we have interacted many times, and is always on point. And I believe it was on point. And I believe, in as much as we've said the three things, that you never achieved, but you have built a foundation. And I believe the chair coming after you will be able to build on that foundation and also seek solution to the three pending issues that you have put across. To my learned friend, Wafula Chebukati, a man I've practiced law with in Mombasa, before he became the chair of IBC. I don't envy you. I don't envy you. At some point when I was in Karen, really worried, I had to talk to the then Deputy President, asking him, are we good? Asking him, are we good? And he said, don't worry, there's God in heaven. That is the answer. That is the answer that our president used to give us every time we see a dark cloud hanging, and we say it's all good, and we say it's all good. And when we drove together in a convoy that day, the 15th of August, to come to Bomas, and we're just pelted with stones as we enter Bomas. Went to our holding room. For many hours, we were kept there. And then eventually we were ushered into a waiting room. Just outside the auditorium. And I remember, I thought I made a mistake by accompanying the then deputy president to that function, because the commotion that ensued, in fact, before the commotion in the auditorium, something happened where we were waiting. And I felt if I feel I'm not safe as a person here, what about the chairperson? Because the group that came to threaten us as we are waiting to be ushered into the auditorium, had actually left the office of the chairperson, and we knew things were not right. And when you walked in, and you're physically assaulted, I knew that you're under immense pressure, and not just for the immense pressure, and not just for that day, for that period, that you're managing this election, And despite all that, you stood firm, really firm. And today, not just this country, not just Africa, but the world is celebrating you. So as you exit holding your head high. We celebrate you, and I believe you made the shoe to the chair of IBC so big that whoever is coming in will struggle to fit in. But we pray to God that he gives us a chair that will take the standards from where you've left them, take them even higher. So we thank God for you, and we pray that the next page will be less controversial. I know the AG has said that we should find a place for the exiting chair of IBC, and I want to pray that that place will be less controversial so that you can regain your composure. I know you're not through yet with the kind of shaking that went through that time. So ladies and gentlemen, allow me to appreciate every one of you, that whatever you do at the commission will either enable the president to deliver, or in a way it may affect his delivery of services to the country. So I want to urge you that we put our best going forward. As a Senate, I decided as a speaker to start paying courtesy call on the different commissions, because I believe we can build a partnership. And one of the commissions that I did pay a courtesy call was the Commission, the Auditor General, because one of the biggest mandates of the Senate is oversight. But you see, the Senate can only oversight if it has the knowledge. The only instrument they use to oversight counties is the auditor's report. They need to know the whole process of auditing. They need to understand the issues of audit for them to be better placed to offer the oversight and deliver on the oversight mandate. So we agreed with the Auditor General that in the few weeks coming, we're going to have an induction course seminar where we're going to bring a whole lot of you. Quite a number of commissions will be invited. Quite a number of commissions will be invited, so that you talk to our senators, arm them with that knowledge. Otherwise, for them to hold governors into account, and they don't have that of knowledge. It's like having a policeman with you arm a policeman with a Vitz, and then the thugs, you give them a Peugeot. Certainly, they may not be able to catch up with the people they're supposed to catch up with. So we are doing this in collaboration in partnership. Because ultimately, we want to be called a government. That delivers. I thank you. Wetangula Papa Waroma. As no.
Thank you, Speaker Emerson. Your Excellency, our President, Your Excellency, Deputy President, Your Excellency, Prime Cabinet Secretary, Speaker Kingi, Attorney General, all chairmen and commissioners and your CEOs, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, today is a really important day. An important day because you've taken it to spare time and appreciate Kenyans who toil and moil in the back rooms to make the wheels turn for this country. We've come here, fellow Kenyans who have been called upon and been given the privilege to serve our country, to appreciate you, to encourage you, and to ensure that you become critical cogs in the wheel that the President is steering and turning to improve our country. The three commissioners retiring, Your Excellency, I'm a bit concerned that retiring or the retiring or the exit of Bishop Wabukala, and Wafula Chebukati is going to significantly impact on unemployment status in my county. Not retiring, but moving on, I believe you'll cause them to do so. I've worked with Dr. Keringai, Aaron Cheriot and I were in the Senate Finance and Budget Committee, and we did a wonderful job. With you. I have no doubt that the energy, the knowledge, the wit, everything you displayed will still be helpful at a different level. Baba Skofu Wabukala, my village mate, now you'll have a little more time to take care of our souls, and will be available for your prayers. You've done a wonderful job. Your Excellency, Speaker King and I have been in Australia. The last 1 week for the Commonwealth Speakers Conference. And everybody who spoke, the Indians, the Polynesians, the Melanesians, the Africans, the Caribbeans were walking to us and saluting King and I in the name of Wafula Chebukati. I told Kingi, every time they salute, just put on a broad smile and take the credit on behalf of Chebukati. Because each one of them was saying, we have read, we saw on CNN, we saw on BBC, we saw on Al Jazeera. What happened in Kenya? We salute that man who was the chair of your IBC. So Wakili Chebukati, we stand here to salute you in a very special way, that you stood head and shoulders above the clouds and did a job that many people for a long time will emulate. Because we know we live in a country where many people like yourselves with responsibility constantly look over their shoulders to see who is watching before they make decisions. Because we always believe in the fear of the unknown, and that there is some big brothers and that there is some big brother somewhere watching. Remember, when I talked to you at some point, I told you, Bwana Chebukati, just bear fidelity to the law, to the Constitution, and to the will of the people of Kenya. Yeah. And we saw the events that culminated on the 15th of August in Bomas, that you are truly made of steel and you truly stood up above others. Because you and your colleagues Molo and Professor, what Speaker King has described is what we all saw, but I saw a little more, because I walked into your office after the commotion, and I found Professor Gulie, a professor, an adult, a commissioner, crying with both his legs bleeding profusely, having been viciously physically assaulted on the podium. What is surprising, Attorney General, is that all those goons who caused mayhem, caught on CCTV, none has been brought to justice. It's not the best way of fighting impunity, because we all saw them. We saw who boxed Chebukati. We saw who knocked down Gulie. We saw who tried to snatch the documents from Awiye. That I leave to you. I want to encourage you, Bwana Chebukati, that you've now set the bar very high, for many Kenyans who have been called upon to serve. You sat in an office where one time one of your predecessors told Kenyans that he didn't quite know who won the elections when he had declared a winner. And so on and so forth. But fortify your future by remembering that in Shaban Roberts' book Kusadikika, he says, kila wakati inji huwafija mashujaa wake mpaka janga kuu litokee. Janga lipotokea, wewe kama shujaa ulitokea. And you know, my friend Professor Kindiki was one time asking me, what is Chebukati made of? He just sits there, emotionless, doesn't smile, looks like an old Russian spy, but behind that stoic face, lay some tremendous, admirable courage that made Kenya what it is today. Nobody will take it for granted. No, because you did what many people could not do. So as your kinsman and your village mate, if there's nowhere to transition, I will work with you to make sure that you are not lonely. Our president understands. That we have rewarded people who don't deserve any rewards at all in this country. And you deserve more than anybody else those rewards. For you commissioners and chairmen, Chebukata said the bar for us. That you can actually do the right things in the face of incredible adversary, and still walk tall. If what was going on in the country was something that would cause and a chill down everybody's spine, we would not be here. But we are here because one man leading a team stood for the country. Honorable Chairman and Commissioners, I don't want to say too much. I lead the Parliamentary Service Commission, but I'm also the Speaker of the National Assembly, where all your budgets come to, where all the oversight over you is done. I want to encourage you that this country does not lack men and women who can work and work better. This country lacks men and women who can use their brain and capacity to work to improve the country, because most of them wait to see whatever they're doing, whether there are consequences or not. If you do that, then you are in the wrong place at the wrong time for the wrong country. Please style up all of us. Let's make it easy for our president to deal with much bigger issues, because down there, the wheel is turning. The two good ladies from the Control of Budget and the Auditor General, I agree with you, Auditor General. There's so much wastage in the country. Githu Muigai said that you do postmortems, you operate dead bodies. So we need to find a way of tracking these bodies while they're still alive. And that starts with Margaret. Whatever you want us to do to help you control, you are called the controller of budget. The PFM Act, Your Excellency, says nobody, without exception, should procure any goods or services without an attendant budget. Why do we have pending bills if the law was followed? These are the big questions. When we do the retreat, we will join you. Lastly, Your Excellency, as you lead us to the future, as you lead this great country to where it must be, I want to urge all of us here, in the words of John F. Kennedy, don't ask yourself what Kenya should and must do for you. Ask yourself what you must and should do for Kenya. So that zote tuchangie
nchi yetu iende mbele. Tukifanya hivyo, Your Excellency, you will enjoy your leadership. Lakini tusipofanya hivyo itakuwa kama wakati wa Mzee Moi. Mimi ni driver, sijui mwizi huko kwa basi ni nani, sijui mchoyo ni nani, sijui nani ni nani. But we will support you fully. We will work with you. And we want to make Kenya a better place to live in. Thank you. Deputy President, it's now your duty to come. And in the words of Victoria Renee, she wrote a poem that said, "Standing where I am, I can see a better tomorrow." Standing where I am, Your Excellency, I can see a better tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Before I invite you to address these good people, let me once more thank you for taking time to interact with these great men and women who have a constitutional mandate through their institutions to create a better Kenya. Your Excellency will be engaging with all these teams, and there is a lot to do. The Salaries and Remuneration Commission, your files we are on volume 3 on issues against you. But we'll canvass because we need to create continuous engagement so that we make progress among yourselves and other ministries and departments so that we can make progress. Your Excellency, your stand on respecting independent institutions is on record, to the extent that you have been accused of capturing the judiciary and other independent institutions. I think having spent more than 4 hours here with these great people, I'm sure by tomorrow, on top of being accused of having captured the judiciary because of insisting that they need to be empowered to operate independently, you'll be accused of capturing all the independent commissions and offices. Your Excellency, I want to salute Wafula Chebukati and the other 2 commissioners for standing up for Kenya, for doing the right thing, for refusing to be tempted by bribery, for rejecting intimidation and threats to overturn the will of the people and subvert the Constitution. You are our heroes. Your Excellency, I want to thank you that last Jamhuri Day, you did honor these 3 Kenyans for their service to this great country. We are aware that you antagonized very powerful people and dangerous people. As a responsible government, we have made adequate arrangements that in your retirement, you have full protection and security to enjoy your life without any fear, so that you are safe, because those are not very good people. Very good people. Your Excellency, we are going to engage with this team as per your instructions, and your commitment to strengthen independent institutions will be achieved, because you are clear that that's the way to build a country, by having strong independent institutions, not just for today but for posterity. And I request you, all of you, to be upstanding, as we welcome the President of the Republic of Kenya. Mr. President.
Prime Cabinet Secretary, the the two speakers of Senate and National Assembly, Mr. AG, Chairman of our commissions and heads of independent offices and commissioners present, CEOs, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Hamjambo. Happy New Year. First, let me take this opportunity to apologize. This function started late because of a small conflict in my diary. I was engaged in another meeting with the Ministry of Health because health is a very important component. Of our bottom-up economic transformation agenda, commonly known as the plan. And as you're all aware, we have made